had a big client in the US and they sent me payment for a big project that I did. And it's been sitting in the banking ether for over 15 days. And like the person who sent the money doesn't know where it is. She doesn't know where it is.
It's scary.
It's crazy. And it's because, her only option to receive money in dollars is to open up a US dollar bank account in Ghana, which took her like 6 months and was ridiculous to open. And then it like barely works.
Yeah.
It's just wild that this is how she's spending her time instead
of building.
Exactly, building the business. And so these are the types of things that really get me going on stablecoins, because we had no shot of solving it before. And now we can see a path.
Welcome to Humans of Fintech, the show where we get very real about the people building the future of finance. I'm your host, Nicole Casperson, and today's guest is Sophie Sakellariadis, a longtime Stripe leader who's had one of the most interesting front row seats in modern fintech. First helping Stripe expand globally across fragmented payment methods and rails, including some of Stripe's first products outside of the US in Singapore. And now she is building the money movement systems behind how businesses store value, move funds, and operate across borders, including stablecoins. Sophie, welcome to Humans of Fintech.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so happy to have you. So you have been at Stripe for over a decade.
Yes.
Is it crazy to hear that?
It is so crazy to hear that. There's literally no way I would have guessed that when I first joined.
Right? And I remember when we were prepping for the show, you had said like when you were first joining Stripe, you weren't exactly sure what you were exactly signing up for, which makes a ton of sense. Like who knew anything, right? 10 years ago. Was fintech even a thing, right? Take me back to that moment. What did you think you were signing up for?
Yeah, great question. So maybe I can start with what did make sense to me at the time, which was I joined Stripe when I was pretty young. I think I was 24 when I first joined the company. And the one through line in my very short career up to that point was working in public policy and wanting to build tools, systems, whatever it may be that could have an impact elsewhere in the world. And so what really drew me to Stripe was the mission of grow the GDP of the internet. I just found that idea so compelling. And then I was very lucky to have a friend who was super employee there and loved the people and asked me to interview and went through the process and then kind of landed there. On a spiritual level, Stripe was a totally logical fit for me as a public policy person who was curious about the world. On a skills level, it was kind of a wild start. Like I didn't know what an API was. Right. I barely knew what were the important companies in tech that Stripe was serving. I had never used Slack before. So here we are 10 years later, fully in it.
Yes, fully a Slack user.
Fully a Slack user, definitely.
And I think my favorite thing as I've gotten to know you and your team just through emails before we hopped on the show is just knowing that you have like Sophie S at Stripe.
That's true.
That's a flex.
That's true. And fun fact, my real name is Sophia and I could have been Sophia at, and then I was like, really only close family calls me Sophia. I think if I do this, my identity is going to warp.
Have a little professional
Instead,
personal
it warped to Sophia's, which was kind of fun.
The multiple Sophies. But I did think that was a flex. And it's like having at Sophie as an Instagram handle, but at Stripe. Yeah. And I also remember you telling me that you had this big personal obsession with just living overseas. Yes. Why did that matter so much to you?
Yes. Well, the kind of one through line in my career was I've just always been very curious about how to understand other cultures and build things that have impact transcending cultures. In my early career, I think I rightly felt like sort of a fraud. I'd really only ever lived in the US. I traveled to other places, but I had never been on the healthcare. So I just was so stuck on needing to live somewhere where I could be on a different healthcare system and really understand what it meant to live in a very different place. And that was one of the big things that initially drew me to Stripe was I figured high growth company, very global mission, starting to launch in a few new markets, thought if I can get in the door, learn what an API is, learn how the products work, learn about the users, that they'd be happy to move me somewhere interesting. And I was sort of lucky to have my pick of places and ended up on Singapore.
Yeah, I love that. So you join in San Francisco.
Yes.
A year later, you end up in Singapore.
Yes.
What did Singapore teach you about fintech that was unique? Because obviously we, I guess, know about healthcare.
Yeah. Well, one, it taught me that so much of the good stuff is not happening in Western countries. It's happening in APAC. Just the quality of the companies coming out of Southeast Asia, India, etc., were so impressive to me. Just the speed that they move with, the innovation, the quality of the people, like, wow. So that was the first thing that I learned, was just something big is going on in tech in general in APAC, but especially in fintech. And that's largely because the traditional systems here have their problems, but they kind of work for us. The traditional banking systems in places like Southeast Asia that are super fragmented, like, really don't work. And so the like level of pace and innovation that you're seeing in fintech there was just, like, to be honest, way beyond what I was seeing when I was in the US.
Yeah.
So those were kind of my two early learnings, was, wow, something big here is happening in tech, and then something really big here is happening in fintech, because the size of the problem is just so much greater, which means you know, add smart people there and a culture of entrepreneurship, and you end up with some really interesting businesses.
Yeah. No, I mean, that makes a ton of sense. I write about it often, you know, how much I think we always look to, you know, the US fintech and thinking that is setting, you know, the bar, but there is a very large conversation and amount of innovation happening in APAC and other in Latin America and other places that they're skipping almost steps that we've had to do in the US.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think the classic example are Alipay and WeChat Pay in China, right?
Okay.
You sort of went from, whereas in the US, you went from cash to a credit card based system. And now you're seeing these sort of new wave systems come online, like the buy now, pay laters. And you have products like Zelle that are trying to make the banking rails a little more usable. And you've got Apple Pay. In China, you kind of went from cash to these super advanced digital wallets and Alipay and WeChat Pay that are fast. They have really strong fraud protections. They can do all these amazing things like small scale lending, small scale insurance, a million other services. Right now, they're the everything apps. And now you're sort of seeing all these companies in the US just trying to build towards what has already been built in China on top of these old systems. So it's a funny cycle.
Yeah, which is a part of why I get to exist in a way, right? Always as a reporter, I've covered that tension, that struggle, especially with like the legacy systems and having to build new systems on top of the legacy systems because they were like, we didn't know the internet was going to happen, and now we are in the internet economy.
And now we're in the stablecoin economy, too, which is the next layer.
Which is the next layer. I thoroughly look forward to learning more about stablecoins from you specifically.
Yeah.
Before that, I do want to ask, so you were at Stripe during this, what I think of is this first major wave of fintech, right?
Yeah.
Building global payment rails, unifying fragmented systems, helping internet businesses actually get paid across borders, a huge pain point. And now you're working on money movement and stablecoins, which does, as you said, feels like this next wave entirely. When you look back, what problems were you trying to solve then? And how do you recognize some of the same problems or patterns that are showing up today?
Oh, it's a great question. One of the things I really love about Stripe is we have a culture of really bringing things back to the user. And that really hasn't changed. Like 10 years ago, we came to work every day and what we were obsessing over was, how can we help the best entrepreneurs to start their businesses faster, to spend less time on tasks that aren't adding to their core business, and to help them grow revenue. even though we hadn't really cracked the code on solving this, it was like always our intention to build it in a way that could work worldwide. Today, what do we think about when we come to work? Literally the same thing. It's how do we build systems that allow the best entrepreneurs, wherever they are, to build great businesses, grow them faster, and spend less time on weird extraneous tasks like trying to, I don't know, close your books by reconciling 5 different payment methods. And, if you're a fintech business yourself, it's way harder, right?
Yep.
You have to deal with things like regulation. And so that's really the core of what we're trying to solve. And the one thing that actually has changed the most is stablecoins. They're really the first technology that I've seen since joining Stripe, which open up a meaningful leap forward in our ability to provide services for entrepreneurs worldwide to not just accept payments, but store funds in a currency that not going to drop 50% in value overnight.
Yeah.
Get access to a card, et cetera, et cetera. I can go on and on.
Yeah, no, that is a big note from you, Sophie, specifically. I also just want to flag that I do love that you said, the best entrepreneurs, because now I feel like I'm in this group of the best entrepreneurs who use Stripe. So
yes, amazing.
because candidly, I built Fintech SPM. Originally, I was under an agency, and then a couple years ago took it independent, knowing I had a much bigger vision for this brand and this media company, wanting to be my own disruptor in the media fintech space. But in order to do it as fast as possible and move like I needed to, I was able to use Stripe Atlas and incorporate Fintech SPM and be a business owner overnight. So yes, I am in the best of entrepreneurs category. Just want to throw that out there. She basically said it. So you've lived through this build phase. What do you think people maybe misunderstand about stablecoin and like how it is shaping the experience?
Yeah.
Tell me a little more about why it is so amazing and transformative.
Yeah. So maybe I should start with the quick, just what are stablecoins, right?
That's great.
So stablecoins are a type of cryptocurrency that's pegged to the US dollar, which means if you own a stablecoin, it's really only going to change in value as the dollar changes in value, which happens, but it's fairly predictable. Like if you had to pick a currency to hold your assets in, most people are going to want to pick dollar. And because stablecoins are pegged to dollars, they're a way to offer what I like to believe of as all the good stuff and sort of the dream of crypto without the downside of crypto. The good stuff being you can access it from anywhere. That's a really big deal.
Yeah.
You can move it instantly. You can move it instantly at exceptionally low cost. And the bad stuff being, if you were to hold all of your money in Bitcoin, that could be a big leap, right? Could increase in value, could decrease in value. It's hard to spend Bitcoin in the real world and peg it to, I don't know, the cost of your coffee. So that's what's so transformative about stablecoins. It's this technology that allows companies like Stripe to help entrepreneurs not just get set up quickly, but receive money in dollars, spend money in dollars, send money cross-border without getting reamed on cross-border and FX fees.
And make it faster.
Are
you telling me that stablecoins might be open on the weekends?
They are open on the weekends.
Are they open on the weekends?
Yes.
Because I know some folks that aren't open on the weekends.
Yes.
They like don't take President's Day off.
Yes, that's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. So what I'll say is there are, when you talk to, or at least when we speak to entrepreneurs in places like Latin America or Southeast Asia or West Africa, they are in on the party. Like they know what stablecoins are. They actively prefer to hold their funds in stablecoins. When we tell them, hey, you can now not only use Stripe to accept payments, but you can hold your funds in an account that's backed by stablecoins, they're like, sign me up tomorrow. I get it immediately. And that's because stablecoins are solving their very acute day-to-day problems of the value of my business's lifeblood earnings might plummet 50% tomorrow. And there's even just some basics. Like if you think about an internet business in Peru, like real story, building cloud services or AI companies, a lot of the customers in the US, people want to pay them. You try sending money to a bank account in Peru, it might get caught up for 15 days. It's going to cost a bunch. Then you think about the flip side. It's like, what services are they using? AWS, OpenAI, try swiping a Peruvian card. It gets rejected like 50% of the time. So the pain there is super real. When you talk US businesses, I think we're a little earlier to pick up on what stablecoins can do, but you're totally right. The domestic problem that stablecoins solve is they're open 24/7, 365. Whereas, you want to get paid into a stablecoin account, just going to be there. You need to send somebody to money in stablecoins, it works. You want to send it over banking rails, it's a holiday, good luck accessing your earnings.
Right. And then the Peru story is fascinating. It does remind me of Fintech FM has done global business.
Amazing.
I have worked with, I won't name names, but I have worked with one of the largest banks in Turkey and other places. And it is always a fascinating journey to have some of the largest international banks take months to be able to pay me.
Oh, yeah.
And sums that, are nice and a lot for me, not that much to one of the world's largest banks, right? Like it is, and if stablecoin is able to help solve that problem, that does give me this feeling of like, sign me up for that.
Yeah.
What are some of the other like basic unlocks that stablecoins create for a founder? Is that's mostly it? I mean, if we solve that problem,
it's a pretty big one.
We might have no more problems.
It's a pretty big one. If I'm thinking like a US first business, really the big near-term unlocks are just you can access your cash 24/7, 365. If you need to send money to somebody else overseas, you can do it instantly and you can do it for very low rates. And then the third one, of course, is yield.
Okay.
So, you go on MetaMask, you can earn, I don't know what the current rate is, but you can pretty easily earn like 4% on your balances. So that's what we're seeing resonate with, call it founders in the US, mostly focused on the US. When we're talking about internet businesses that are not based in the US and especially in the global South, it's like that plus a million other things, right? Somebody needs to pay you. They actually can. Oh my God, that's such a big deal. You need to pay your OpenAI bill so that you can run your internet cloud services business. You swipe your card, it actually works. I mean, it's just so fundamental to being able to run a business. It's like almost crazy that this hasn't existed before.
It is. And thank goodness it's nice to have folks like you who saw the first wave help spearhead this one. So I look forward to this experience myself as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Woo! Sophie's gonna solve all my problems. It's good to know. Glad we're meeting. So you told me about the Peru story.
Yes.
And helping that company. Tell me, you had mentioned a story about Ghana.
Yes.
It's very human.
Yes.
Something about with your partner's sister running a graphic design shop.
Yes.
You share. You tell.
Yeah. Okay. You can probably like tell from my intonation that I feel very passionately about these problems. And it's because I like live in it every day. So my partner's from Ghana. He grew up there and then came over here for college. And his sister's super brilliant. Also, grew up in Ghana, came here for college. She went back and she founded a small business. She's like the top graphic design shop for startups in West Africa.
Wow.
She's amazing at her job. Graphic design is not specific to a country. So she has clients in the US.
Yeah.
And every day I get just like a crazier and crazier story from her about what it's like running her business. So it's things like, I had a big client in the US and they sent me payment for a big project that I did. And it's been sitting in the banking ether for over 15 days. And like, The person who sent the money doesn't know where it is. She doesn't know where it is.
It's scary.
It's crazy. And it's because, her only option to receive money in dollars is to open up a US dollar bank account in Ghana, which took her like 6 months and was ridiculous to open. And then it like barely works. So it's things like that. And then literally what she ends up doing with a number of her clients, this was so wild to me, is she'll have them send money to myself or her brother. And then she'll ask her brother to use that as currency, mostly to buy Beyonce related stuff, concert tickets, paraphernalia. I mean, but it's just wild that this is how she's spending her time instead of
building.
Exactly, building the business. And it goes even a step beyond that, which is in addition to not being able to just like have the basics of her business work, there's all these other like knock-on effects of not being able to access a really startup-friendly banking solution. So, for example, her big project in the last year was that her the office that she rented. This was wild to me. Very common in West Africa. To pay your office rent, the market standard is you pay in cash and you pay 2 years upfront. Okay, 2 years of rent upfront.
New York was crazy.
Yeah. It's wild. And so what did she do? She literally built an office in her mom's backyard. She's just like, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to physically build an office in my mom's backyard and design it myself. Like, imagine all the time and the brain power that she put towards that instead of putting towards building the business. And it's like, if she were here, no problem. You could get a loan in like 2 seconds that could help you with that. So these are the types of things that really get me going on stablecoins, because we had no shot of solving it before, and now we can see a path.
There's a clear path to the solution. I resonate with so much of that entirely. First of all, you have it like an insider, you're like, you're like, ooh, I get to like hear direct from my partner's sister in Ghana, right? You have like that international entrepreneur. I'm sure you have plenty that you're talking to literally all the time. Obsessed with customers, right? And just constantly hearing those kinds of things. But it's true. It's like how much, Stripe is already managing or like dealing with some whatever percentage of the global internet GDP, right? I think I can't remember the percentage exactly. Throw those in later. To imagine how much more is out there if we solve this problem of time, right? Of like the time and the focus. And because I know I'm very passionate about it too as an entrepreneur. Like why should I have to sit and hope and pray, right? That like the wires work. And I should just know that they will work. And I'm not gonna lie, they like typically do, but they just they do, but they take forever. And all of that. Hey listeners, I want to take a moment to share some really exciting news. Now, for the first time ever, Humans of Fintech is hosting the premier podcast booth at Fintech Meetup on the showroom floor in Las Vegas. If you don't know what Fintech Meetup is, it is where the fintech industry actually does business. This isn't just another conference. Fintech Meetup brings together leaders from banks, fintechs, credit unions, and investing firms for 50,000 one-to-one meetings designed to drive real partnerships and real ROI. And this year, we're spotlighting the humans behind the headlines. So, in partnership with Fintech Meetup, we are launching a special nomination contest for the Fintech is Femme community. Here is how it works. First, nominate yourself or a colleague to be featured in a live recording of Humans of Fintech on the Fintech Meetup show floor. And all nominees will receive discounted Fintech Meetup tickets. Plus, 2 winners, the nominator and the nominee, will receive free VIP tickets to Fintech Meetup, which is worth so much value. And the selected nominee will also record a live podcast episode with me, Nicole Casperson, and be able to share their stories and insights distributed across the Humans of Fintech network of 100,000 fintech leaders. So if you are ready to step into the spotlight, be sure to nominate now and lock in your spot. There's a link in the description to nominate, but the landing page is fintechmeetup.com/page/winners-circle. And remember, fintech is built by humans, and their stories deserve the mic. So if you're ready to join Fintech Meetup, be sure to nominate, and I'll see you on the show floor in Las Vegas. All right, let's get back to the episode. I love this this piece of stablecoin. So you said there's like a clear path.
Yeah.
Can you give us like your best breakdown of the path?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I should say a lot of this like literally is here and exists. So on Stripe today, you can create an account from any of 150 countries.
Okay.
You can get access to storage in digital dollars, USDC. You can get access to local account details, which means basically like think about it as you have a US dollar bank account. So you have a routing number, you have an account number, people can send money into it from a vanilla regular US bank account. You can get access to a virtual card. So if you wanted to spend that, store of funds locally, you could do it. And you can send money to other people. So the pieces like literally are there, and they're improving day to day. And there's a number of companies who are building this. Most importantly, there's a number of like just incredible fintech companies building on top of Bridge, which is a Stripe company building stablecoin rails, who are kind of piecing together these really awesome localized fintech apps that like combine all these capabilities and make them super customized to you wherever you are. So this stuff is there, and it's like every week there's a new feature. It's like people are now experimenting with issuing loans against balances held in stable coins. Wow. That's like a net new thing that no one was really doing that like 6 months ago. So it's a pretty exciting time. We're like just getting started here.
Yeah. Where do you think is like, it's a tricky question. Yeah. But where do you think it's a little bit, who's like winning the race?
Well, I'll give you a very Stripe answer to this, which is I genuinely believe I don't know that there will be like one company that builds like the global bank account. What I actually think will happen is infrastructure companies like Bridge will build the rails that allow even better local entrepreneurs to go and create the hyper local version. So a good example here is Felix Pago. I don't know if you're familiar with them. Actually, I think they now rebranded to Felix.
I think it's just Felix. I haven't heard of the Pago element of it, but you would know so much better than I would.
It is Felix. It is Felix. Corrected my brain there. They're like an amazing company. They do remittances. Mostly, they started doing remittances on WhatsApp to Mexico, and now they do a ton of other things. The crazy stat that I heard was U.S. does about $60 billion in remittances each year to Mexico. 10% of that is done in stablecoins already.
Wow.
And that's pretty wild for a technology that still people have like kind of the heebie-jeebies over, I guess I would say, or at least people that are not in the know. That's so new.
Yeah, well, because it's easy to kind of have like a deja vu element of it, right? Like, even myself, right? As I covered the meteoric rise of Bitcoin extensively. When I was a wealth management reporter. And it was a huge deal, right? Should advisors advise on this? Should they not? Like, what is the risk here? And for the most part, it was all very like negative, right? Like folks were very not into it. And then, and then you had your crypto winter and all of that. But it's, especially based on everything you're saying and what I'm learning and everything, like stablecoins is not just a nice rebrand, right? It's not just a nice, it's a completely different thing.
It's almost a completely different ballgame. I think that's right. Yes, it sits on the same underlying technology
blockchain,
but the delta of you have an asset that is fundamentally unpredictable to you have an asset that is just as predictable as US dollars is enormous. And that's now the foundation for building all this great technology that connects it to the real world in a way that hasn't really happened for other crypto assets as well, right? Like the fact that you can hold money in a digital dollar balance and then just get a card associated with it and swipe it anywhere and it just works is like pretty magical.
It's magical.
Yeah.
I'm very, very into this. I'm becoming a stablecoin advocate in this conversation. Because I was like one of those people, you know, I was like, oh no, but crypto hurt. Do I come back? Okay. And I'm like, now I'm pursuing with caution as we typically do. But that makes a ton of sense. And also like the wave of new companies, like obviously there's a huge crop of new fintechs and infrastructure players but to your point, even more that will come up, the more problems it solves and the more things it exposes.
Totally.
Right? So that it is literally like, I don't know, this is not, what internet 0.0 are we in? 3?
Oh, that sounds right. That sounds right.
I think 3.0.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it does feel like the next phase. So that's wild.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess I can't remember if I answered your question. I think who will kind of win the day is just the best local versions of the thing. You know, that's my guess, at least. I think there will be some use cases for companies like Stripe to offer stablecoin backed accounts directly. But really what I imagine being the win the day system is the stablecoin account for West Africa that has like the cool welcome screen that really makes you feel like it's built for you and has all the YouTube tutorials with people that like speak your literal language and are telling you how to use the product. That's where I think we're going to see the growth.
I'm thinking of like a meme right now, like, and not a meme coin or whatever. I'm thinking of like, you know, did you watch the Super Bowl halftime show?
I did.
You don't have to watch the rest of it, just the halftime show. I'm like, you know, that the last scene of like Bad Bunny, I know you all know this, of when Bad Bunny like walks out and he's got all the flags of all the different countries and places, and it's very unifying as like globally.
Yes.
Like you could make a meme of like Bad Bunny being the stable coin.
Oh, I love that.
Is that?
I love that.
I don't make memes.
We're gonna go update the website today.
If you do, just like a small thank you, Nicole. Like on this moment, because that is how it's coming across now to me. Is like this, because I was thinking company, but I was also thinking country. Is there a country that's
it's really not a crazy idea actually, because banking is so personal, even more so than payments. I would argue, which is, and of course you can also do payments with stable coins, but for apps like, you know, Felix, it really matters that people trust it and have stories from their friends using it, and the content is hyper localized. So
we're meme approved. Thank you, Bad Bunny. I want to talk a little leadership and perspective for you. You have stayed at Stripe through multiple eras.
I have.
You've seen a lot. What makes an enduring career in fintech, especially when we go through so many cycles, so many ups and downs?
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to preface by copping up that I can't say I did this with great intentionality at the time. But looking back, I think what went right in my career was finding really burning problems that were not appropriately staffed, if that makes sense. Like when I moved to Singapore, it was not actually when I moved to Singapore, the leaders I work for at Stripe were like, please don't go. You should stay in HQ. This is where all the action is. We need you here. Like, sure, we'll support you if you really want to go for personal reasons, but you should really stay here. And actually what happened when I went there was I was by accident at the forefront of uncovering this like incredible business opportunity for Stripe that we weren't yet ready to capture. And then I sort of put myself in the position where I was really the only person who got that because I was on the ground, and it created all this opportunity for me to be this like interesting, useful person to Stripe leaders early on, which otherwise wouldn't have happened necessarily. So I think that's my advice. It's like, it's not get on the meme trend necessarily, but it's find a really meaningful problem that you believe you can chip away at solving from the seat that you're sitting in, like your role, your company, whatever it is. And then if you have that, plus it's not quite staffed or being paid attention to yet, that's probably a recipe for success.
Yeah. Well, I speak to a lot of amazing people and leaders in our industry on the show, and there is a common thread around them kind of having this like personal conviction in wanting to do something, wanting to do X, wanting to live overseas and travel and experience the world, and then finding, what's cool about the fintech space is that it is still in this like, it's so crazy to even say new, but it still feels like it's in this newish era where you can enter into a place and have your kind of personal ambitions realized. If you're kind of willing to take that leap, if you're willing to advocate, if you're willing, right? I've interviewed amazing leaders who were like, dealing with fintech in like the 90s, i.e., what is this? Money on internet? Woo. What is the internet? Right. And them being like, you know what, just call me the director of the internet. Right. Like, call me this. And they're like, okay, go, you do it. And then they just go and then they see it realized. It's the thinking kind of a few steps ahead and knowing, well, maybe if I do that, I might find some new problems to solve and makes it really valuable. So I love that. And exactly, you wouldn't know that ahead of time. So you might as well kind of think about your own personal and professional ambitions at the beginning. When it comes to our industry, what are you optimistic about right now? What are you not optimistic about? What keeps you up at night? The good, the bad.
Great question.
The beautiful.
Literally what came to my head is I'm really optimistic about stablecoins. I'm like a ridiculous broken record, but
The stablecoin pod.
maybe to flip that, I'm very optimistic about the caliber of entrepreneurs that are building on this stablecoin technology and really starting to understand what they can do with it to positively impact the lives of entrepreneurs everywhere. I think it's a really magical moment and we haven't really realized it yet, which is very exciting and cool. I think what keeps me up at night is just risk. I think anyone who works in fintech who doesn't say that is like something is wrong in their brain a little bit, right? Like, new technology means there's new risk attack vectors that we probably haven't thought about or you don't know until it happens. And so I've yet to see something that feels like so structurally different that we don't know how to handle it and we should really be freaking out. But like, we really need the ecosystem to build everything thoughtfully because if we don't build it thoughtfully and we move too quickly, then we're gonna fall back into the trust problem that like the crypto world was experiencing before.
Right.
So those are really the basics. Like, the opportunity with the technology, really amazing. And then, if you do it too fast and you're not thoughtful enough about making sure it's safe and protected, then you could have a regression, which in my mind would be quite tragic.
Yeah. Well, I work with and speak with and have on the show a lot of the security and risk leaders in our space, and so I'm always trying to keep my pulse on that as well because that's a great answer. It's like our innovation is amazing, but it needs to build on top of leadership. It needs to build on top of security. It has to have these foundational elements. For me, it's actually what I enjoy a lot about fintech is that we're thinking a bit more of all of the elements coming together and then thus playing the long game is a big theme I'm hearing and feeling this year. And I really appreciate and admire that. Are you ready for some rapid fire questions?
Let's do it.
All right. Okay. Some of these may be about fintech.
Great.
Some of them might not. We'll see how it goes. All right. So first thing that comes to mind, coffee or tea?
100% coffee.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. First app you check every morning.
This is very boring, but I'm going to give you the true answer, which is the weather app.
I've never had anyone say that.
It's been cold.
That's a good one.
I wake up and I'm like, how bad is it today?
That's a good one.
Am I going to see the sun?
I've gotten Gmail a lot. I've gotten calendar.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone said weather yet.
weather app.
An original. Best leadership advice you've ever received?
Jean DeWitt, who's this incredible leader at Stripe. She was my first manager at Stripe. She's now the CBO at Vercel. Gave me this advice when I got to Singapore. And sorry, this is in rapid fire, but it's important to give her credit where credit is due.
We love giving women credit.
Yeah.
So you do it.
I called her up and I was like, Jean, I'm dying over here. The coolest things are happening here, but we don't have the product. We don't have the payment methods. We don't have the country coverage. How do I get our leadership to understand this and give me some resources to go build something cool? And I'll never forget what she said to me, which is, you need to make them feel like there is a massive opportunity that is slipping through their fingers.
Mm-hmm.
And all they need to do is close their palm to catch it.
That deserved context.
Yeah.
That was really great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jean. We love that. This also may not be rapid fire for you, but a stablecoin myth you wish would permanently retire.
Oh, stablecoins equal crypto.
Love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Favorite food you still crave from your time in Singapore?
Oh my gosh, there's like at least 20.
Yeah, that's
But
a toughie.
today I woke up thinking about kaya toast. Just this like amazing coconut jam butter toast thing with like a really runny egg. It's so good.
That sounds really good. I like a runny egg. Has anyone had this? All right. Aubreen has had this. I have not. I think maybe I have it. I have it. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I need to make it out to Singapore. I haven't yet. Someone
You do.
send me to Singapore Fintech Fest. Thanks. A belief about money or success that you had at 25 that you've completely let go of.
That having more impact equals growing the number of people working for you or where you sit in an organization.
That's nice. Okay.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah.
The most overused word in fintech right now.
I'm going to go agentic commerce.
Ooh, I have written a lot about agentic commerce. So
it's cool.
It's me.
But it's talked about more than it's built on, I think.
Yes. I think it's like it's like a wave a little bit. It's seemingly like a wave a little behind stablecoin, right? Like stablecoin kind of now we love talking about things before they happen. In fintech, it's one of our best qualities. Finish this sentence. Fintech works best when it remembers
its users.
I love that answer. One trust building move every fintech startup or entrepreneur should make earlier than they think.
Invest the time and the money in your risk prevention systems before you need them.
Yep. That's a very specific fintech startup entrepreneur answer. She's like, as someone who constantly works with them, do that. Okay, two more. If you weren't in fintech, what would you be doing instead?
I think it'd still be on the public policy route. Like maybe working for the mayor. That would be cool.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. Who wouldn't want to be on Zoran's transition team?
If he would have me, you know?
Yeah.
In some alternate universe.
It's not possible that he listens or sees this. It's not. Let's try to make it happen. I have a dream of like that transition, that all female transition team that he has, like coming to our event or like speaking at our conference or something. Like there's just something about it. That's smart man. All right. Last question for you. Success in 3 words at this stage of your life.
Impact, joy. Like, what are we doing if we're not having fun now? Relationships.
Well done.
Yeah.
I like it. That was good. That was
Yeah.
amazing. It's not an easy closer.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. Amazing. Well, Sophie Sakellariadis, thank you so much for joining me on Humans of Fintech. Thank you for finally explaining to all of us what stablecoins do and is and are. I know some of you don't actually know, but now you do. And thank you for tuning in to this episode of Humans of Fintech. Be sure to subscribe and share and follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Humans of Fintech. If you loved this and want to hear more from leaders across the fintech industry, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is Fintech is Femme. And be sure to sign up for the Fintech is Femme newsletter, which you can do at fintechisfemme.co. See you next time.